Hello everybody and welcome to episode 39 of Competitive Magic with the Carnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me today we have Javier Dominguez from Spain.
Hello everyone.
And Anthony Lee from Australia.
Hola.
We are back after having a 1 week of a break because me and Javier were together in his home in Barcelona to test for the RC. Has been an amazing week. I got to hang out with Javier for about 1 week straight, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, but let's say the biggest takeaway we have is we both gained some weight. That's something every time we are spending time together happens. Do you think Do you think that will ever change? I don't think so.
Yeah, I would say we went. We had a lot of quality time in various restaurants between Bologna and Barcelona.
Yeah, it's something I try to give Mengu in exchange because whenever we go to Italy, he takes me to excellent places. So when he came to my place for this week, I just try to once again to give him the best, the best place my area has to offer. So
we went on premium restaurants in a row of on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is kind of weird.
Who do you think is ahead? Who brought the other person to better restaurants? So did Javier do a better job bringing Mengu to good restaurants in Spain, or did Mengu do a better job bringing Javier to restaurants in Italy?
Okay, Mengu answers first.
Well, I mean, in the places the places I've been in Barcelona, they were very cool. I want to say, they were not regular places that I think a tourist would find.
You didn't answer the question
for yours in Italy.
I can already feel you not answering the question. It's incredible.
Okay, I can answer the question. I think Mengu won there. I think the places I took Mengu to are sick. I think one of them is extremely good, but I think the Bologna place is just honestly, it might just be my best restaurant, my favorite restaurant right now, ever.
Wow.
So I think he won there.
That means it's unanimous.
My places.
You both agree that Mengu did better because Javier said Mengu did better, and then Mengu refused to answer the question, which means that he thinks he did better. So, all right, it's good. I needed to know, and the listeners probably wanted to know as well.
We declare Mengu a winner in eating contest. I don't know. I think both were. I mean, obviously different. Whenever you go to different places, better for you. But I think, I mean, it's. I think we had a very good eating week.
I want to say that it was way more healthy my time in Barcelona though, because we always had huge lunch. So at around 4 p.m., we would be over, and then I wouldn't be eating until the next day. Whereas in Bologna, it was always awkward because we just had huge dinners. And that's not very healthy overall. So
that's true. I think I think that actually made the difference. Obviously, it's not exactly great to. I mean, for me, a lot of people you're listening to us are from places that are not Spain. We tend to eat quite late, so our lunches were from 2:30 to 4, something like this. And that's not great for if you're gonna dinner at 7. But here we dinner very late, and if we have this huge lunch, we don't dinner much, so that's what we did most days. So that actually, I think I won the. If we wanna say which part of the week was healthier, I think mine was way healthier. So at least I'm gonna score that one.
Yeah, that I return home and I don't feel like I gained that much weight. My girlfriend and family also didn't feel that much. So I would say that overall it was okay. The fact that we only had one meal, even if it was huge and excellent, it was okay.
I'm pretty sure we got more weight in Italy.
Yeah. Also, in after Barcelona, of course, on Friday I went to Athens, which wasn't actually Athens. It was no, I mean it was in Greece, and the airport is Athens, but it's very far. And our hotel was very near to the convention center, which was also very far from Athens. It was 1 hour to go to Athens, basically.
Oh, wow.
And we just didn't go. At the end, I was just very lazy. Also, I was coming from a 2 weeks traveling. We just had a very good hotel with a swimming pool and a restaurant. We just kind of lazy our way in the restaurant, me, Pivo, and Makuto.
There's so much to see in Greece, though.
There is, though.
I know,
also there's
I know, but when you travel so much, you feel I just want to relax and just I don't know.
I can
it's not
feel
great.
I can feel you, Mango. I can feel that.
It's not great.
Yeah, like sometimes you travel enough that you're like, I just want to be like here chilling and just enjoy the time, swimming with my
Yeah,
friends.
especially like after staying at the tournament until like I don't know 7 or 8, and the next day you have to wake up again at 7 to go to the tournament and things.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
great. It's like the best thing.
I mean, for you guys don't know, Anthony just pretty much doesn't sleep. Like I have traveled with Anthony like, I don't know, at least 5 times, 10 times, or whatever. I don't know how many times we have traveled together. I have never
Quite a lot.
yet see him sleeping, not even once. So he could be like a vampire, as far as I know.
That doesn't mean anything. If I had a regular person schedule, you would never see me sleeping because you sleep like so much more than a normal person. So,
well, but even though, like, then I will probably see you sleeping at some point, but I have not seen you sleeping. So I understand why you don't care waking up at 7 a.m. But me and Mengu, waking up at 7 a.m. after a long day, it's like sometimes tiring. You have to understand. Not everyone doesn't sleep like you, Anthony.
Tragic.
Also, maybe the other guys stayed a couple of days after. I believe Marcus and Gennaro are still there, and Kalk, I think, left today. So they had their time to visit, but I just wanted to be home and return to my normal life.
Yeah, with spaghetti vongole. Next time I go there, I actually love spaghetti vongole. It's a very good dish, I think, and I haven't had it in a while. So next time I go to Italy, I'm gonna have it.
I think for the benefit Bologna.
For the benefit of those who wouldn't understand, I think that's spaghetti with mussels.
Clams.
Yeah.
Mussels. Yeah. I believe that in Bologna is like in the middle, so they don't have great seafood. So you have to go actually to the seaside. That's the key. That's the key.
Well, then I will have the more of the bacon and mushrooms pasta. That's also very good.
Yeah, exactly. Mushrooms and bacon.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. What did you do in these weeks? We didn't talk much. Did you do some? Did you start PT testing, or do you have some regional championship testing?
Yeah, I started PT testing. I didn't do much regional championship testing because, it doesn't really matter that much to me. I'm going to the RC in a couple of weeks, but it doesn't really matter too much because I have both of the relevant invites already. So I'm just kind of going to just chill, I guess. I'm a little bit lost as to what to do at the RC itself because even if I'm not terribly invested, I would like to not lose horribly, I suppose. So I don't know. I would try a little bit, but I really have to focus more on modern right now. I'm also playing some RCQs, I guess. That sort of thing.
Okay. What formats are they? What formats are your RCQs?
Pioneer. So that's the new system. The RCQ formats always have to match the RCs now, so they have to be Pioneer because the next RC is also Pioneer. That's the one after Worlds.
Anthony, there's a deck the Twitter often calls Hogak. They should probably
Which one?
That deck
They call everything Hogak now. I don't even know.
No, this is
which Hogak. Are we on the third Hogak now?
Okay, there's only one deck in Pioneer that could be called Hogak.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have Hogak and we have Inverter, and then I don't know what we will call the blue-red deck, but yes. Okay, so we have the Hogak deck. What about the Hogak deck? Do you think I should play it?
Yeah, I know. I feel like it will suit you. I don't know why. It's also suiting like you probably can learn how to play it and just play it forever because the cards are just like as good as they can get in those like the creatures are pretty good for what they do. So like the combo cards. Speaking of Hogak, by the way, maybe we should start going to Pioneer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's start about Pioneer. I want to first start talking about maybe our preparation rather than just immediately talk about the winner, Federico Buono.
I wanted to say Hogak won the tournament, but okay.
I can't say it. I just said, Federico Buono from Florence won the tournament. Very cool final.
One question.
Yes.
Very important question. Buono means good, or
Buono.
Yeah.
No, we say buono with the B, but I guess in Florence they have a different language. They invented the Italian language after all, so maybe it does mean that.
Okay, because I was like, wow, this is a cool. If it means good, it's like a cool name. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
How insane would that be if his name means good and the head judge of the tournament was Alfonso, right?
Bueno,
true.
yeah, that's
Alfonso
true.
also
Alfonso
included in the
Bueno.
surname.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. So they might have actually the same surname. Oh, that's cool.
That would be so sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
sorry, I
don't know
mean,
if
it'll
you
be
saw
so good.
the final game. He was like he had like a million creatures, but they're all on the ground, and his spirit's opponent was winning in the air. And then his last draw step is Ornithopter, so he gets to attack with all, put your opponent at 1, play Ornithopter, chum block, and then win on the swing back.
Yeah, that was
Crazy.
Like, it was crazy game. Yeah, I watched the final games, like the semifinals. I also watched some of the one. I watched some games. It was cool to watch actually. Speaking of this, like I didn't go to Athens. Like Anthony, I just skipped the tournament, and it was quite experience because as we're gonna talk about it now, like I spent a week testing with the guys at my place, and when other people we will talk about will also mention now, but I decided to not go to the tournament just because I had my qualifying already like logged, and I also wanted to see how I will feel because it's very hard to predict how will you feel about not going to like sort of a big event or whatever. And I was afraid of being like, I should have gone. But turns out on Friday morning, I was just in peace, and on Saturday I was like, just hoping the guys to do well. But I'd never regretted not going there. So I think that's
Maybe the fact that you had the arena qualifier maybe also made an impact, right?
Yeah, I think they did. I mean, I care about these arena qualifiers. I mean, I didn't test much for this one because I was with you guys, but I always try to do well. I try to play them focused, and I would kind of like to play one of these arena tournaments, at least once. Yeah, so I got to the competition there. I mean, I didn't do well, by the way. I just lost the winning in today too. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say like I didn't go to Athens, and it's okay. Like I didn't feel very bad about it or whatever, just in case like someone is considering skipping a tournament, and like it's fine. I mean, as long as the important. I mean, we play Magic because we like it, right? So sometimes if you feel like skipping a tournament just to play the next one, that's okay. Also, especially if you qualify for you already qualify for the tournament, and I'm super excited for Barcelona, and maybe I'm even more excited because I didn't go here, so I kind of want to play a tournament. But it didn't have to be this one; it could be the next one.
Makes
I'd
sense.
say that with the current system, they definitely wanted to feel this way. Like they don't want you to go to every event because you have to attain pro points, like it was in the past.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, yeah, this system is clearly designed in a way where if you qualify for departure, you're not expected or incentivized to come to the RCS. Like that's clearly the case, and I think that's fine with them. That they want TP to be the one where the qualified play, and that's it. They don't necessarily expect or want the qualified players to just play all the tournaments the same way they did back in the day with the GPs, right? And that's like a difference. I think it's good and healthy because if you like, let's say I wanted to come to the tournament, I could have gone there. Like it just they're giving me the option, and that's good. Like all the players qualified also didn't go, like Marcio, whatever. And I think that I'm starting to like the system a little bit. Of course, when you're doing well, it's easier to like a system, but having the option to not play a tournament just to focus more on the next or take a holiday, whatever, break, also, which I didn't do, but it could be also good.
They don't really compel you as much to do things, which is, I don't know, it's nice. I don't, it's weird to feel compelled to play events out of some sense of, I have to or whatever, So I don't know. I think it's nice. And if you want to play, if you're not qualified for, I mean, you are, but a lot of players would be qualified for the Pro Tour, but not Worlds, and they can still play for that reason. Like the Bean was thinking about playing in Taiwan or whatever because even though he's qualified for the Pro Tour. So I think there is still something there, and there's the money, I guess, or the ability to see whatever country that you're traveling to. So because the European ones have been in fairly unique locations, right? Like they're not cities that any of you had traveled to before for Magic. Well, I guess Sofia and Athens were not places that you traveled to before. So I don't know. I kind of like that. So
that is true.
It's good for you because you get to go to cool places like Athens, and I'm just going to Sydney again. But
your favorite
cool
place
system.
in the world, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Speaking of going to Europe from a foreign country, our very good friend Christian Calcano came to Naples to play Helsinki. It's kind of a good story, so let's tell it to the
It's
listeners.
good. It's great.
He came to Naples 3 months ago or 2 months ago to play Helsinki because he wanted to come to Italy and take a trip and whatever. He didn't get there, but he played on Sunday and he got his qualifications to Athens in 3 months. The next RC, he played like the classic qualifier, they're called, and so he came to Barcelona to do testing with us, and then he came to Athens and he got there, finished 15th place, so he's gonna go to Pro Tour, which I'm so incredibly happy for him. I'm gonna see him again. Just Kalk is just such a great person to hang around with, so I'm so happy.
He is.
All right. Yeah. In Barcelona. So let's recap there. So we had this Discord group. A bunch of people decided to join the crew of in real life testing. We had, of course, our team leader Makuto, Marcos, and then as me, Gennara, and Kalk, we stayed at your house here. And then we had people from actual Barcelona coming to join, to play every day with us. There was Martos, Danker, and Rodman. And yeah, we just did some like real life testing of Pioneer. We had our classic first day. Whenever we gather all together, we do this like tournament to kind of like gather the ideas. Each one plays a different archetype, and the winner of the tournament that's more like a round robin 10 different decks tournament was Keruga Incarnation. So we started to test a lot of that one, right? That was our the first deck that kind of we took seriously outside of Rakdos.
Yeah, I was impressed for that deck. Like I felt like it didn't only have a good matchup against Rakdos, but also it was not a bad deck overall. Like it could stand, by itself against other decks. So we actually developed a little bit more on that deck, and we played a lot of matches. I mean, I played a little bit less than the rest because I was just there being a host mostly. But I was surprised and I was impressed. And I think until the very last day or the day before, some people actually were considering playing Keruga.
Yeah, the biggest difference that we have, because I remember testing a lot of incarnations for Sofia, and at the end of the day, I decided to put it down because of its bad matchup against White, Green, and Lotus. But I think that the addition of Ilishnorn changes the matchup a lot against Green. So if you're able to go just Incarnation, sacrifice a 4-drop, get Ilishnorn, the Green matchup is actually good once you do that.
Yeah, I mean, we found like the matchup was fine, and that's a huge difference because we were not like behind against Green anymore. Also, like Keruga instead of Jorion made it so like we had a lot of way more strong hands, like a Splinter Twin hands we call, like the turn 4 7-drop hands. They happen way more often, and that's also a huge difference because you need to do that often to beat Mono Green. But if you do, like most of the time they just can't do anything. Like you go turn 4, come on the play, Mono Green doesn't beat that, right? And that's that was a big difference for us. So I will say, other than Black Red, which is the deck that I think most people played, Keruga was the one we worked the most on. We also had two Mono Green, Carlos and Ram player. Like we had 2 Mono Greens, but the rest played Rakdos. And look, Wednesday was looking like we could play Keruga, honestly. I mean, they will play.
So I mean, the obvious question that everybody's going to be thinking is what made you not pull the trigger on Keruga if you were thinking about it until the very last days?
So the biggest thing, for me at least, was the matchup against Mono White. Like, as opposed to Incarnation, where White was often fine, the lack of cards like Chain to the Rocks or whatever actually made... I mean, I didn't play the matchup by myself, but people were playing like long sessions, and they were losing like too much to White. And I think losing one matchup like Lotus is okay, but losing multiple matchups like that is just unacceptable. So I mean, I didn't test it again, but like the teammates did, and they insisted that Mono White was very bad matchup, especially like on the draw. Like I thought I will make it, like, so, like the life was very hard to play, and that's why I think that's the biggest reason why, because Marine and Rakdos were both fine, and even control decks like that were supposed to be horrible, they were just fine. Like you could beat control sometimes, and that's something like I played the matchup from the blue white side, and I was surprised how often like I will need to counter a lot of stuff again and again and again, because as opposed to the Incarnation Jorian, the Fires one has less like dead cards, like they don't have all those Chain to the Rocks you miss against Winnie well, Karuga Fires doesn't play them, right? Instead, they play like a bigger density of threats. So it was like I often will lose game one because I will need to have like a lot of counters, and my removal was bad, and I would just lose to one threat. Also, Karuga was very strong. So that was for me the biggest reason. Also, like, invasion of Kopagan, I don't know the actual name.
Kobakan.
Yeah, invasion of Kopagan. We just called it Copacabana.
Everyone calls it something ridiculous. Yeah, no one can say that.
Yeah, it's a very
I don't know
cool
why.
name, yeah.
But go
So the
on.
invasion of Gobakan also apparently was a deal breaker, which I can say why, right? Like if you're playing on the draw with
Yeah.
Karuga, maybe you have one drop, that's two drop or three drop, and that's it, and you have a lot of fat cards, like 4 mana, 5 mana, big cards, whatever. So invasion of Gobakan apparently was like a huge difference. Like hands like Talia into Gobakan, just GG. So that
So
was the reason. I don't know if Mingo has another reason though. Like that was my reason, but I think maybe
if
there
you
were
could,
more.
so if we found a cheap removal spell that was good against mono white that you could play in Karuga, how far would that go?
I think it would be very far. Like we actually considered playing like 4 volleys at some point, like just non-play Karuga against white. But it turns out like if you cut Karuga, then your deck is not made to be without Karuga. Like if you don't play Karuga, your deck actually has a very serious flood problem when you don't have like the incarnation, because
Yeah.
Karuga really makes it so you can rely on removal. So I think it will need to be like a dead gun type of card actually for this to be fixed. I think. I mean, obviously you can just bank on mono white not being very played or Rakdos being
Seems reasonable.
like like if Rakdos is the most deck played by a lot, that's fine. But at the end, we expected Rakdos to go down. We didn't expect Rakdos to be like 25 or something. We expected less Rakdos, which is also a big. It was also a big factor for Karuga Fires to be put down at the end. I think that was right because at the end there was not that many Rakdos in the tournament, and also it was not very common in the high table. So I'm glad the guys eventually didn't play it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the metagame was very flat. I want to say like it was. If you look at the metagame breakdown I have in front of me of Athens, we had 17% Rakdos, 12% Monograde, and then the third most popular deck was 7%. So I feel like pairings just, like kind of like, yeah, the metagame was very flat. So you just had to play like a good deck and not really preying on a matchup against the most popular deck. Like maybe was the best choice for the regional the previous weekend in America. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's not only 7, it's like 7, but then it's like 6.8, 6.6, 6.35, 6.15. Like it was very, very flat, incredibly flat actually. Some could say this was an extremely healthy metagame in terms of like diversity index. I would say.
I think that the best choice for the Pioneer, if you have a tournament moving forward, is just honestly just a deck that you like and you think it's good and you know how to play well, because you're just gonna get probably just, I don't know, if you play 15 rounds, like 12 different decks, and just yeah. So this is honestly my approach right now with Pioneer moving forward. Just
isn't
back in
this
that-
just true for every Magic format now? Like,
yeah, it could be. I mean,
just true for
standard
Magic, I think.
wasn't really.
It's just
standard
Magic.
wasn't really. Well, it's a Magic, but it's an older format Magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different.
No,
Like in the standard, there are
I think
better
it's true
decks.
everywhere.
Standard. No, in
but I
standard.
think- yeah,
In standard, there's less
I'm gonna
decks.
translate it in a different like. The point here will be like the gap between the potential like or theoretical best deck in Pioneer and the 10th best deck is somewhat small compared to like standard, where you might have a best deck that's much better than the third one. Like here, I don't know, you think like Phoenix is not great, whatever. It's still not much worse than mono white, to say something. Like all the decks are fine if you play them well enough. I think that's something that's more true in some formats.
I mean,
think
that's just taking a
Pioneer-
raw number. But like, if you just take it out of all the playable ones, like in standard, obviously it just can't be like 10 because it's not like that many cards, right? But
Yeah.
I think if you take all the decks that are good, you just should play whatever one, because like all the matchups are way flatter. Like it's for a different reason. But like all the
Well,
matchups
but
are
that
flatter
requires.
in standard, right?
Yeah, but then
and like
that requires a flight power level, Anthony. Like if you go legacy,
Yeah.
for example, like your legacy, you could be the best goblin player in the world, but your deck would still be much worse than Delver.
yeah, maybe it's not true. I have no idea about legacy. That's true. I wasn't
Well,
really thinking about legacy. I have no idea.
Well, even in modern, like the Lurus modern, where you have like the Shadow Lurus, modern Hammer Lurus, or whatever, where the bad decks like the Ultrons or Infects were like way below power level of those decks, which is not the case now. Actually, I think Modern was not flat on the Loros era, and I think it's flat now. I think some formats, I think we could say like there are formats whose power level is more flat, and others that there's like more like extreme on the top. I think that's something we could actually talk about.
For example, you look at the Athens and you look back to it and you be like, what was the deck to play? There was not really an answer. Like
Blue White Control is the answer, I guess, in numbers.
Sure. I mean, if you look at percentage, yes. But for example, I know I talked to Upumpa, which did reasonably well with Blue White Control. He said he played against 0 Rakdos, and let's say I talked to Kalk who did very well with Rakdos. He played against 0 Incarnation. So overall, I feel like the pairings mattered way more in Pioneer than it does in other formats, and I think that again, just my suggestion is to just play a deck that you like, you think are good, you think is good, you played with, you know what you're doing and things like that, over metagaming, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's probably good advice, especially like if you can get a high level, but it's always dangerous because this is Pioneer right now, but it could change.
Of course.
It will change if Rakdos becomes a 25%er instead of 17, yes. Or Mono-Green becomes a 20%er. That's already enough to... Like, I think that's true as long as no deck becomes, like, super dominant or, like, a collection of decks. Like, if Rakdos is the best deck, like, Rakdos is 20%, and then, like, Sacrifice is 17, it's actually not that far. Like, in terms of practical, like, metagame situation, it's not that far. But the fact that Mono-Green and Rakdos often sandwich, and they are like consistently the top 2 decks, but they never like 30 and 25 or something. I think that's what keeps Pioneer being a little bit flat like this, because you cannot have decks that crush them both, that do not lose to the rest, and the rest is common enough that you will not win tournaments just only playing against Green and Rakdos. Often, of course, there's always people in tournaments that have those runs, but more often than not, you're gonna run into 1 Lotus, 1 Sacrifice, 1 Control, 1 Incarnation. As Mango said, like, you're gonna run into 10 different decks. And I think that's. I mean, it's a little bit like Modern in the 2014-15 era, where the power level is actually flat, and there were like 10 to 15 viable decks. I mean, some people. I mean, that's. You
have to get the right pairings in order to succeed.
I mean, I saw a tweet. I think it was from Chris Botello this week.
Yes,
and he talked something that I have been thinking about since I saw it. He said he actually historically liked more the formats where their diversity is low because the gameplay is better, and he also pointed out that the reason for that is when there's a lot of diversity, or when there's like 20 decks, it is because most of those decks are linear and they cannot interact well with each other, which is true. Yes. If you think about it, like most of the metagames that are very like whenever there's 10 decks, that is because a lot of those decks do not interact with each other, and that usually leads into a very healthy metagame in terms of diversity, but it comes, and I agree with this a lot, with expansive gameplay. Like if there's 20 different decks, that means 10 of them, when you play against each other, you just don't interact, you just don't play. Like, I mean, you play, but you don't get any relevant decision. And I think I agree with that. I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like if you have 15 good decks, you're gonna have like Lotus against Mono White, which is we just throw the cards in the battlefield, and that's the same thing that happened in the Modern in 2014, where you could play like Boggles or Infect against Tron, or Tron against Nausem, or Storm against Nausem, or like there was like half of the decks did not interact with each other because that's
controls.
Like that's why there were 12 decks. Otherwise, there would be 3 decks.
I think we've always.
I think it's so good. What do you guys feel? We've
always felt that, Javier, but the difference is that Botello has like put a specific cause to it. Like he's identified it more clearly than we did, because I think we've always known that diversity and interactivity are kind of at odds with each other, and we've usually used that, just compared like different formats and being like, oh, this is the result, but we didn't really think about why it was the case in the way that Botello has in those tweets. So I think he's just kind of developed it. Like we've had that idea for a long time, I think, but Botello's like put it much more clearly, and like when you see, as soon as you see it, you're like, oh, that's why. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it totally. I did want to go back to one thing though, because I mean, you keep talking about like the pairings are the things that matter the most, right? For me, I feel like logically, if the pairings are the thing that matter the most, you should be trying to metagame, not because that's the edge you can get, right? Like clearly, you are going to try to get some sort of edge, and if the pairing matters more than the other things, like why would you not try to metagame instead of playing like whatever you think is whatever you like or whatever, you know?
Well, there's an answer
Well,
for that. The answer for that is, as Mango said, the power level is flat, so the deck is flat. Like here, you
Yeah,
cannot metagame Athens, right? Like it's like 17, 12, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Like if all the decks are played the same, how you can metagame?
but one of them is gonna be a bit better than the others, even in that metagame.
also, and also, what I wanted to say as well is that between those 7 and 6 and 4, you had like matchup very polarized. Like for example, of Rakdos, you have the I don't know humans and spirits, which are positive, and then you have fires and I don't know group vehicles or Borsko book, which are negative, and they're like all together there in the 7 bracket. So you can't really like you know that these are going to be decks that are there. You just have to play against the good ones and dodge the bad ones if you want to have a good record. This is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think it's a little
You're
more
basically
complex than that.
describing
Like
it's
because the
Yeah,
sevens are not equal either. Like they like 7% appear, but they're not weighted equally because some decks are better than others, right? So I don't know. Like I feel like metagaming becomes the most important thing in that context, not the least. Um, like because I mean otherwise we're just concluding that nothing matters, which might be the case, but it's not something we can really do much with, right? Like
it's not nothing matters. I think I don't
well,
agree. I don't think I think that, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me, Mango. But I think Mango's point is, since the metagame is flat, you cannot really metagame that much before the, like you cannot gain my edge by choosing a deck because it's very flat. But you can gain an edge by playing better. Like since there are so many matchups against unique non-interactive decks, like
exactly.
playing against
Yes.
Lotus is like, or playing against Rizfang, it's not easy actually. Like there's a lot of minor things. You need to know how to mulligan well, which cards matter the most. Like there's some, like, a matchup against Creativity, Wisfang, or Lotus is drastically different from each other, and you have to test every one of them. And I think if you play very well those matchups, I mean, it's same again the modern story, where there were like a lot of hidden tricks against all decks, where you could maybe get now some out of win conditions, like weird stuff like this. And that's where the edge is at, I think, in flat metagames. I don't know if that's kind of like the message Mango
Like
wanted to say.
for example, for Athens, I knew that Rakdos was going to be a bad choice. I really I knew it, but I felt like there was nothing I could have done to prevent it. Like we had the Keruga deck, but then we decided that it wasn't good. And so at the end I was like, all right, I guess I'll play Rakdos because I know how to play it. I played it a lot. I have, a good cyber plan against the most popular deck, and I'm going for it. And then I got paired against two Incarnation, Borsk, Convoke, and I didn't make day two, but I'm not. I didn't finish the tournament. Like the next day, I played the Classic, which is like this 200 people tournament, and I was so lost because I didn't feel like there was a good choice. So I just played something that I thought was fun and cool, which was the Izet deck that did well in the showcase by Bullwinkle and Levy, and it was fun. But after all, I don't think that's a good choice either. So overall, again, what I'm trying to say is just play that and yeah, that's it for me.
I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it's something. It's a little bit more on the philosophical side, probably, but I think it's also like has some practical applications. Like at some point in the testing house, whatever, they were discussing about the mirror matches and such. And I honestly feel for Rakdos, for example, in the mirror match, and even a lot of matchups, the most important thing you have to do is play the games well. And that's a very simple thing. But often, like having a plan, like knowing the cyber plan is not enough. Like sometimes you actually have to play the game, and you have to lose different ways so you actually know how to play it. And that's very common. That's very particularly important if you play the interactive deck. Like if you're playing, like Lotus against another non-interactive deck, I don't know, like Elves, it might not matter as much. But if you being the one making the interaction plays, not knowing what's going on, that's actually rough. Like playing Rakdos against Combo can be a bad matchup, but if you play it for the first time, now it's gonna be an actual bad match. Like it's gonna be way worse than it will be if you know what
yeah,
matters. And I think that's they're like 15 viable decks in Pioneer. That's a lot of decks, and you need to know how to play against every single one of them. So that's still like, even if you decide like, I'm not gonna care too much about building the deck, I'm just gonna learn how to play. That's still a lot of work. So, I think that's just knowing what matters. I mean, that's a thing what's more important for winning a tournament. But that's me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit like.
I mean, I am assuming that you can get that with almost any choice. That might be an unreasonable assumption for a lot of people. Like, maybe it's a lot of resources to commit for many players. I don't know, but I mean, I kind of assume that you should be able to get to a basic level with about everything. But maybe for some decks it's harder, obviously, like with Lotus or something. But I don't know. Like I feel like you should, like, if it's a big tournament that you care about winning, you should be able to prepare a bit against all the good decks or whatever. Like maybe not 15, but 7 or something, and that should get you like a large amount of the way there in terms of the ones that matter the most.
In our testing process, we divided ourselves and brought almost every deck viable in Pioneer to actually play against it, to try to have exactly this going on. And for example, I remember playing against having like a long session against Kalk on Lotus, which obviously he wasn't the best Lotus player ever, but me with Rakdos, I only played against Lotus like a couple of times on Magic Online. I didn't play it against in Sofia or in Valencia when I went, so only played a couple of times on Magic Online. So actually having a session against Lotus, I think, helped me very much. And obviously this is something that it's not easy to do, but yeah, something like this will definitely improve your win rates.
Must be nice, Mengu. I think I'm saying this because for PT Phyrexia, I was the only guy testing Rakdos, and most of the team was playing Lotus, so I was the one sparing. I was the opponent playing as Lotus every day. That's not very.
It was a hilarious purgatory for him.
They're gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a Rakdos player to play Lotus," and I'm like, "All right, here you go again. I'm gonna play my match number 120 against Lotus." Okay.
I actually did play a lot as the Black Red side, but never against Lotus because Javier was doing all of that. But I played Black Red against a lot of other things, yeah.
Like for example, a deck I didn't have enough testing against was Rakdos Sacrifice. I got to play against Xerk, the famous Yawgmoth player, on Rakdos Sacrifice at the tournament, and I felt like he made lines that I didn't see, and I felt like I didn't play that game well. But with, let's say, even just 10 games against Rakdos Sacrifice in testing, I would have played the round better at the tournament. Then
that's the one we had knock up because
I think if there was a failing, it was that. Like we identified it even like slightly before the actual tournament. And I was like, "What about Sacrifice? Like, why haven't we? Like, what's going on with this?
Yeah,
we haven't played that much.
That's why I mentioned it because it was for sure. It was for sure a problem. But overall, there was. For example, a line I didn't see, and I want to mention it because maybe the people out there also never saw it. I had a Bloodtide Harvester, and I knew he had Claim the Firstborn in hand, and I played Bloodtide Harvester, and I didn't have any other creatures, so I figured that he would need a sacrifice outlet to sacrifice my Harvester, where he can just claim my Harvester and then tap it to target itself, and it dies.
Yeah, you never done that to get a Croxer?
I guess I did it, but on the other side, yeah. I never did it on my own one, yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you stack your Harvester to. Yeah, I mean, it comes up, very rarely.
Yeah, this is something. Yeah, I guess this is something that might be a line very unconventional, and it in that matchup is actually very relevant. So and more of that line, more of that style. Overall, I got to win that match, and funnily enough, Xerk, we were 1-2. He went 1-3, and then he rattled off 5 wins in a row to make day 2, which was pretty cool. When I saw him playing the next day, I was like, "Wow, how did you like? You were 1-3, he won 5 in a row. That's very cool."
I had that in the last PT where Mati Kuzma started 1-4, and then he was just obviously like very sad, and then at some point I can't remember what my record was. Like, it wasn't bad at the time. Like I was like X5, probably X4, X5, I think. And I look next to me, and Marty's next to me. I'm like, what? I didn't even realize he made... Like, what's going on? This is crazy. Is that
Classic
Tristan? I don't know what's going on. It just turns out he just won every single match after that. Like, wow.
Yeah, I played it. I
love
played
that.
next to him in the win. I played against it next to him in the winning in for day 2. I remember. Also, Matti lost the winning in to top 8 this one.
Did he lose? I don't think he lost.
Qualified.
Yes.
No.
He unintentionally drew, which is the
Oh.
story of blue-white control, I suppose.
Which is basically losing in tournaments, almost.
I mean, he made the top 16, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess for him it's not as bad because, I mean, he kind of has all the invites already or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, he barely tested as well. Like, he played like 2 leagues and was like, all right, I'm submitting this. It's a Giga Chad deck. That was the extent of his preparation, so, you know, can't really complain. But, yeah, it was a great result by him.
Yeah, I remember meeting him in round 3 or 4, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm playing Blue Eye Control. I just lost to Rakdos. I don't know. It's if it's a good choice or whatever." And then I like see the standings, you know, one day and a half later, and he's playing the winning in, and I was like, "Wow."
All of that sounds very on brand for him. Yes.
Yeah, it was a cool event, and Again, congratulations. I don't think we've congratulated him yet, but Martos, our teammate, who we stayed together for the whole week, top 8'd, actually top 4'd, beat Miguel in the top 8, and then lost to, I believe, Azure Spirits 2-0.
Yes.
Yep.
To lose the World's invite, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it was about time. Like, he's been playing very well for a while, so it was time. Like, he had no top 8s like this. So it's cool that he finally got there after, you know, like being.
He really applied himself for this RC. He really worked hard. Actually, he worked hard for all of them, I think. But this one, it stood out.
He's been playing a lot. Yeah, also for Sofia, like all the tournaments, he's been playing a lot. He's been working a lot. So it was, you know, it's cool like to see someone like just being passionate about getting better and getting a result. That's always like, it's too bad he didn't got to Worlds. You know, that last game I was watching. But yeah, I mean, you know, happy for him, and I mean, out of the people in the house, 2 qualified. I think there were like 9 going there or something. So, you know, 8, it's fine. Like, it's a fine proportion.
Alp was really close to top 8 as well. Like, really close.
Yeah, he also had an intentional draw in the winning, right?
Unintentional, right?
Yeah, I said unintentional.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the standings, there's a lot of draws.
Well, everyone draws the last round.
I know, but there's still a lot of 2s.
Calc also ID the last round to lock top 16.
No, I know there's a lot of draw.
But he's saying that there must be a lot of unintentional draws,
Like, also, like, there's some 2s.
Yeah, honestly, just like I said it last time we recorded, Monogreen. Like, Monogreen, even in the Classic, every time there was somebody going long, it was always Monogreen as well.
Actually, in this tournament, I think Sacrifice had more. But that's also a deck that's very liable to draws, I think, because it plays long-running games. And oh my god, just processing everything is so difficult. I think people just have to like work, like both players are trying to like map out like what might happen with the Mayhem Devil all the time, and it really bogs down the game. I think lots of like mechanical things with Cauldron Familiar. Yeah, I think Sacrifice as well is also fairly guilty of this. I think.
For me though, the most impacting thing is the 5 draws out of mono with humans out of like, you know, 250 matches.
I'm going to assume they're intentional. There's no way.
That's true. Okay.
No way.
Yeah. Okay. I wish we could have the stat where we have like intentional draw and intentional draw. You know, I remember that tournament where there was like mono white control instead of having like a 15% draw or something. I'm glad we don't have anything like this here. But I saw some Twitter comments about like, you know, like, yeah, Pioneer creates a lot of draws. I never felt like was the case.
No, I don't think so. I think that's, I don't know. I mean, I think it was Anna who said that, right? But I think like Pioneer is by far the one that has the least draws out of every format, because Standard is like, I'm going to play like some 40-turn game or whatever. And Modern, you spend like 2 to 3 business days shuffling your deck every time someone casts a Ren at 6. Which happens a decent amount of
Modern
time.
games, I mean, I think Modern maybe less, because Modern games actually close so fast. It's not like you play a 25-turn game. Like, you fetch a lot or whatever, but the games are done on turn 6. Like, you cast Rhinos and they die or don't, or you cast a Creativity and they die or don't, or you cast an 8/8 Murtide flying for 2 mana and they answer it or they die. So it's actually not that common in Modern to have like super long games, but you.
But I think Pioneer also has pretty fast games, right? Like Pioneer is fast, has games that are also fast and doesn't have fetches. Right,
no,
there are some outliers.
Like Rakdos against Azorius, Rakdos Mirror, sometimes Rakdos against Monorain, Monorain against Control. There's a lot of matchups that actually can go long. But I feel like in Modern, I mean, it's very hard to have a matchup that's very likely to go long.
Yeah.
Like, even if you go long, often you have nothing to do. Like, if you go long in a matchup with Hammer against Murtide and you play 20 turns, I mean, most of the turns are going to be draw, play a card, and play it. Like, you don't have, like, game in pieces. You just have, like, no hand and no null and permanence, and you just play your top deck. I think that's not the case with, like, you know, Sacrifice against Incarnation or whatever.
I didn't think about the length of the turns. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like,
to say that
there was a lot of small draws, but the slowest deck was like CDC Weep, not because it was slow, but because CDC Weep had a lot of permanence, so they had a lot of emissions. I always think of that deck. I think it was Vili that said like this. It was like the slowest deck ever, and I didn't understand back in the day, but I understood later. Like, yeah, I mean that's the deck.
Why do you say that? You didn't take any draw also because you were playing Rakdos, and I feel like Rakdos is just like that's the clock. Like you go Shieldred or Croxa, and the game ends.
But I don't think Rakdos should be a deck that draws a lot. Yeah.
No, Rakdos. I mean, again, I don't think I've ever had a draw with Rakdos.
I mean, you also don't draw much, right? Did you ever get an intentional draws out of Pauper? Not much, right?
I was thinking about Standard, but I don't think I had any. No.
Yeah, I mean, you play fast. Like, I mean, you play a lot of semi-casual Legacy, whatever, and still, I think Legacy also get it into draw because again, even if you have no hand, Legacy means game actions also.
I mean, you don't have any win condition.
Also no win condition, but also like cantrips and whatever. So I think Pioneers should be like above average in terms of like game ending speed. That's my impression.
Yeah.
Though obviously some games can go for a long, whatever. That's fine. That's Magic. You know that it would be boring if some games don't go long ever. But
anyway, maybe we can wrap up the Pioneer talk. So again, Anthony, you have your regional championship in 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So it's going to be the first weekend of the 1st of July.
No, last week of June.
Oh, so the 24th, 25th of June. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I have a VPNQ the 25th of June.
You'll be what?
Pioneer. Sorry? I have we call it VPNQ, like RCQ, I guess.
Oh, you mean right. Yeah, your RCQs, right. Your Wizards play WPNQ. Okay, sure, yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Cool. Me and people will go grind some VPNQ. The first one ever in my region that they made. So
awesome. I mean, there are a bunch of cool decks. Like, you mentioned before, like I say new, but I mean, it's actually an old deck, right? The Blue-Red Drakes deck, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deck that people have been very excited about and seems to have been doing remarkably well. So, I mean, outside our group, I think we would be remiss to not mention it. But that one is definitely very much a metagame deck, right? Like, it's a deck that they built in response to a very specific metagame and then proceeded to win a lot. I wanted to bring that up before because you mentioned that deck, and I think it's something that I was thinking of when I talked about metagaming being especially important in Pioneer, because that deck is a very strong example of that. The Archfiend combo deck, the Archfiend of the Dross combo deck, that's like another deck that people are really interested in. The one that, if Boros Convoke is Hogak,
please.
This one is Inverter.
Yeah. Nah, it's a Splinter Twin, come on.
No, it's Inverter. You have 2 black 6/6 demon, and then you play a 2-mana blue card and win the game. It's like that sort.
It is Inverter, but I like the Splinter Twin comparisons.
Maybe Splinter Twin can be the Drake deck. I don't know, because you copy and Crackling Drake with Reflection is basically, that's basically activating Splinter Twin, right?
So
they're so dead if that happens.
For the Drake deck, it was very cool because I spent like the whole Saturday gathering cards because I didn't bring any, and I wanted to play this deck, so I asked cards around to like 4 or 5 people, bought the remaining cards, and then I was ready. I played my Sunday event. I got paired against Blue-Red Phoenix, which was basically doing the same things as I was doing, but was reanimating Phoenix in the meanwhile. So that didn't feel like a good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then I dropped because I was like, I don't know. I want to play Modern. I'm done for the weekend, so I just went to play Modern Side event with 5-color creativity.
And then swimming pool.
And then swimming pool, yes, exactly. But first, I wanted to see Martos trying to get there, but unfortunately losing in the semis.
So close, but still a great job. And congratulations to all the other people in the top 8 of that event as well, and all the other ones that happened that weekend as well.
Yeah, in the descriptions of either the podcast show notes or the YouTube, if you're watching there, I'm gonna link this very cool thread by Fire Shoes with all of the deck lists in all of the top 8s of the regional championship, because we're referring a lot to the European one, because of course me and Avi are from Europe and practice for that one, but you can see it, all the deck lists there. You can see the American, the Canadians, and everyone else that happened over the 2 past weekends.
Yeah, Fire Shoes, who's also coming to Barcelona apparently.
Yes, he's a staple now, I think, so this is good.
Yeah.
I'm happy about this.
Yeah,
it's good.
He likes it.
Of course he does.
Here. No, I mean like Barcelona. I know.
Yeah, of course he will. Come on.
I know he will like the tournament, but I'm saying yeah.
Well, have you met someone who went to Barcelona and was like, "This is the worst city I've ever been to"? No, everybody loves Barcelona.
It could be you because you say random bad things from random places.
No, it's not random. I went to horrible cities and I said they were horrible, and I went to some really lovely cities and said they were lovely. Calling it like a season.
There is a deck we might want to talk about as well. Is the Azores Lotus Field, which
that's the one. That's
the Taipei City Regional Championship.
Yes. So that one originated from the Canadian RC with Patrick Wu, and I don't know if he's just doing a bit. I don't know if it's like it's just coincidence, or he really just only plays these decks because his surname is literally WU. But he has a great Twitter really handle. Like these decks. Anyway, he did very well at the Canadian RC playing this Blue White Lotus Field deck, and I mean that deck had sort of like, it was a very, very, very fringe deck. We're talking like top 50 decks in Pioneer, sort of fringe. You might see it like once in 20 tournaments or something, but it had a real breakout weekend there.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, like he had a huge, huge weekend there where it did well with Patrick Wu. And I think he also did well in Mexico the same weekend. Then someone copied Wu's list and did very well in the Magic Online event afterward, like that weekend. And I think it did well. And then it continued to do well this weekend. And that's actually just a new deck. So it's kind of wild that like Pioneer was fairly static for quite a while, and then like the RCs come in, everything gets shaken up like a fair bit. I mean, there are still things, obviously, like Black Red and Green is still kind of on top, but wow, like Blue White Lotus, Blue Red Drakes, and Archfiend combo just appearing out of nowhere. That's cool.
That's strange because this has no new cards. Like, it's strange. Like, you see the Lotus deck, and it's like, like this card got printed, so the archetype is now better, which is
just people just did play that.
It's like just no new cards. Like, why?
No, I mean, he said that he discovered the deck like a long time ago and then kept it secret for his RC. So it really was something that people had just overlooked, I suppose. I don't know how good the deck actually is yet. I mean, it seems to be doing well, but obviously it's hard to tell how long that will last because people still have to react to it and whatnot. But I mean, there's clearly potential. And I don't know if it's a mainstay. It'd be very funny if there were 2 distinct Lotus Field decks going forward. I would find that very funny.
It's funny, but also Lotus Field is not exactly, the greatest representative of interactive Magic.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think I don't know. Like, I think it's gonna be. It kind of usually makes Pioneer like how I felt that old mod used to be, where it was like a lot more fun for spectators than for players. I think like it's really fun if you're not playing, but you enjoy like watching Magic news, basically to see like the developments happen and see what deck was doing well this weekend. And it's always a different deck, and the top 8's always very different. And then when you actually play the tournaments, you're like, oh my god, I wish I could have any agency in my entire life, and we're all tiny specks in a massive universe, and life has no meaning. That's the kind of feeling.
Sounds like modern, yeah. You describe modern, the old modern.
Speaking of which, I guess maybe that's the segue that Mangu was looking for. I can tell he's clearly desperate to get to the modern part. So since I just mentioned that it causes me existential dread, we can let him have it.
Sure, let's talk about modern a little bit. First, I
Yeah.
think we haven't mentioned that me and Javier were at Four Seasons before going to Bologna, before going to Barcelona in Bologna, and we played some cool events. So maybe we wanna talk about that a little bit, Javier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We played the
So
classic team trios in the Four Seasons on Friday,
yeah, yeah. So on Friday,
and that
it
was
was a
lovely.
very fun team. It was a very fun team because it was me and you, and then it was my job to find the third one, right? And the person that I found was this good friend of mine that I would say very rarely plays Magic. So it was kind of fun to have him join me and you. And he had a lot of fun comments in the Instagram posts of people just saying like, "How did you end up there?" or like, "What are you doing?" and things like that. And but yeah, we got there. We started with a loss, actually, pretty funny.
Yeah, boom boom.
Actually, something crazy happened to you. Something that really doesn't happen very often. You kept seven. Your opponent mulliganed to four, and you lost.
True, that's
Literally
true.
the first game of the tournament.
Yeah, that was
Hey.
wild
Do you
actually.
want to talk about that, maybe?
Yeah, I was playing with Jessica Control against Initiative,
In
and
Legacy?
yeah, Legacy. I was playing the Legacy seed. Like Alfred was playing Modern, and Mengo was playing Vintage. And yeah, I mean, it was like just such a crazy game. Like she just led with Initiative after Mulligan to four, and I just couldn't ever steal it. And at some point, I had like this like force of negation times two, mental misstep twice, and I just lost to like a 3-3 or something. I also made some mistakes. Like I didn't play very well again, around the touch of the Spirit Realm because I wanted to play like a Supreme Verdict or whatever. I don't exactly remember the details. I could have played better, but also like like she just had these like two threats, and I just died to the two threes and three threes. Like I didn't even die to the initiative card that much. I just most like died to creatures.
Honestly, I feel like it's inevitable. If you're putting mulligans to four, you're just gonna make a mistake. Because your brain is already like, alright, I win. Let's go to the next
I mean,
game,
not in
whatever.
legacy. Like I mean, this Sunday on the showcase, I got mulligan. My opponent goes to mulligan to five. Turn one kill me with with Upsal spells. Like in Legacy, whenever they mulligan more than six, I'm like, ooh, I'm a die turn one. I'm always like, they're gonna mulligan to four into land, ritual, and tomb reanimate. Like whenever
Yeah.
they mulligan, yeah, like I have lost too many times to mulligan to four to five in Legacy. So whenever
Yeah,
they
but
go
she had
four and
a
five,
she
yeah.
had a medium star, right? Like land go, land chalice,
Yeah,
land
yeah, yeah.
initiative.
She didn't have like this great start or anything. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just lost. But whenever mulligan, I was like, oh, like.
In the meanwhile, I was playing vintage, and I also lost. So we got our first round loss where Alfred won and me and you lost.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
was
very
fun.
funny. And then we managed to come back from there. Went 5-1 to Paydead. Went to have a great dinner, as we're gonna proceed to have for the whole weekend. And then on Saturday, what was it? I played Legacy. You played Modern, but actually, it took, you know. What would you say? Did it take more for you to build the deck or to play the deck
No, build the
you
deck took
brought?
way longer. Like, I was like very tired. I just got there around one. I'm on the very last table of the tournament, and my opponent goes like, land. I don't remember the cards. Like the combo deck, like Ornithopter, Gleeful Demolition, whatever, the Search Goblin, and kill me. Like I have like this Rhinos deck, and I just die before I can even play Cascade. Like I just got smashed
Modern.
in
So
modern.
he was playing eight cool Dota in Modern.
Yeah,
Eight
exactly.
Oh,
cool
With the
Dota, eight
goblins.
Bushwhack as well. Yeah.
So I died there. It was like I was also barely above the rounds. Like, it was 10 rounds. So
Yeah, it was
it
10
was like
rounds.
9-0-10 max. Like I lost in like, I don't know. I played 3 games in like 10 minutes. It was like super fast. So it was like, it's gonna be 10 rounds. I kind of want to play the legacy tomorrow. Like nothing tired. Let's just take the free day. Like we'll have some the mock
Yeah.
showcase in the afternoon. Which I also, I think it was Modern 2. Yeah, I think I also failed to win a game in the mocks. Yeah, I think it won 0-3 or 1-4 combined with Rhinos or whatever. It was not a glorious day of Magic. But I just decided to walk around Italy like it was Bologna against the field. I just took a free day. Like, I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to drop and just like walk around
You
here.
returned, and then we went to dinner. It was another,
Yeah.
a
It was
very
like, honestly, it
nice
was like a day. I
Four
took,
Seasons
took a
day.
bath in the swimming pool, mango style. I just didn't feel like. like also playing 3 tournaments in a row. Mengus also mentioned this. Like you play like 10, like a tournament on Friday, 10 rounds on Saturday, 10 rounds on Sunday. Like it can be like very tiring. So I just decided to just take it easy and take a free day. And yeah, I mean, and then Sunday Legacy, which was really fun. I played a lot of fun games. I didn't make top 8. But
Sunday went well. Well. You were very deep in the tournament, right? What were you? 7-1?
Yeah, I think I won 7-1 and then lost to the Storm, who
maybe 6-1. No,
won me. Whatever. I think 7-6.
Did you lose the winning?
It was. I think I could have run. Yeah.
I think you went 6-1, 6-2, 7-2. I think you went.
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. Yeah.
Whereas I was 6-2, and you told me to ID into top 32, which was cool.
I didn't. Yeah, but I got one very fun, extremely fun game. I was playing like just Sky Control with the dog.
The dog. For those of you who don't know, Comet. What's the name?
Comet Stellar Pup.
Comet Stellar Pup. It's legal in paper, of course, but it's not a Magic Online yet. And it's the Planeswalker Boris that you roll the dice.
So there was this game where I had to have like against Jari and Fill of the Dead, where I needed I had Teferi, Narset, the dog, and the Wandering Emperor for like 4 turns to be able to win the game. Like it required the 4 Planeswalkers to be a max work every turn. Like I have never won that game with 2 Emperors, I can tell you that. Like I just had like all the walkers like infinite loyalty against all the zombies every turn coming, more zombies for me. I had a lot of fun, and I didn't top 8, but it was very fun, and these tournaments are just always great to play. So yeah, it was a good experience. I'm glad Mengu, I want to say, kind of tricked me into going there. Talked to me. Like in the PT he was like, yeah, Javier, you qualified, so let's go for season. I'm like, sure, it's always fun. It didn't take him too much.
I kindly approached Javier after he top 8'd, and then after he lost in the top 8, and just basically talk to him into booking the flight to Bologna.
Talk me into. Yeah, it was not very hard because it's the 3rd or 4th time I think I go to the tournament, and I always have a good time. Like even if I don't do well or whatever. So, but yeah, I'm glad that was a good experience. Also, I got to practice on my Italian. Like every time I got there, I practiced a lot of Italian, so that's also good.
Yeah, it was same for me. I practiced a lot of Spanish because like everyone was speaking Spanish basically. Because Calc has a Dominican origin, so he knows Spanish, right? Like, would you say that Calc can have a good discussion in Spanish?
Absolutely. Like I think Calc's Spanish is like our English or so, I will say, probably.
I feel like you guys were talking to him in Spanish and he would respond in English, which was funny to me. But that's how the conversation happened often with him.
yeah, but he understands everything. Like it's very rare that he goes like, "Oh, what does it mean?" Like he's very used to hear the Spanish. I mean, I think it's his mother tongue, like with mom or whatever.
Yeah,
so
probably,
it's, yeah. So it's I'm glad you learned a lot of new words you can use in Barcelona.
I mean, I hope
I'm sure they're all polite
at least. What's that?
I'm sure they're all polite words. I'm sure you only learn good and wholesome things.
Okay.
I mean, I learned a lot of food words.
Compared to the Italian words they teach me, I will say we taught Mango like a remarkable amount of non-swearing words.
So I know how to say simian in Spanish now, Anthony.
Simian?
Say what?
Like the Simian Spirit Guide?
Simian, like a monkey.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's
is it the same? Huh?
It's mono.
It's
mono.
Like monocolor, which is
mono.
strange.
That means that means monkey.
Do you guys do Spanish speakers like inherently see these as like playing like monkey white aggro or whatever?
Yeah.
Monkey red.
Yeah, exactly. Like mono green devotion. Yeah, it's monkey green devotion. A mono red mono red aggro. It's
that was when they told me that I was like, wait, it's not possible.
It is actually possible. Yeah.
Like, they were saying like el mono.
Isn't it the same as like how mori is like forest in Japanese and death in Italian? It's kind of funny, the kind of thing.
Mori, yeah, that's
that's wild.
Also, another fun one is die, because like in English means like you're dead or like you want like you I want you to die. In Italian, it's just hurry up or like cheer. Like
I actually remember seeing this because I saw a bunch of Italians watching another Italian play, and they were like, "Die, die, die!" I'm like, "Guys,
die.
calm down!"
Yeah.
Like, but
I say that.
turns out it meant something quite different.
Mango said it a lot. Yeah, I hear whenever Mango says like "die, die," I'm always like chuckle.
Die. No, because Danke was playing the 5/7 for 5 in mono green.
Okay, that's
mythic rare from Dominaria. I don't know the name.
And he was called because the name was very hard. He was nicknamed El Mono.
El Mono,
like
because they had it proxy. Yeah, they had proxy. They just wrote
Silverback, whatever. Silverback.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Silverback.
Very, very hard.
Silverback something. Yeah, because they were metagaming against Keruga. Classic, right? Yeah, it's just fine, I guess. And he was very good against Keruga, of course.
I also lost to it with Ragdos. Like the card was actually decent.
Because that card dodges Elishmon, right? Because
it dodges everything. It dodges the paddle push also. I don't think it's a bad idea. At least like worth trying. And also taught you a word. Now you know how to spot it. If you're ever being attacked by a monkey in Spain, you can just like
No, but overall, I hope that these travels can leave something, which is the learning of the Spanish language, which is not easy to learn a new language at 30 years of age without moving. But I'm trying my best.
No, I mean I saw you also Mango tried like he kind of communicated with my parents in sort of like broken Spanish or whatever, so it was good. Like,
of course.
Yeah. I mean it's been Pioneer. I want to say like it was a great week, just playing a lot of Magic, being with friends. I as Mengu hope this can keep happening in our lives because it really makes me happy on that regard.
Yeah, honestly, when I saw Calc top 16 or whatever, I was so happy because that means I got to see him again for another week in Barcelona. And maybe Lille as well if he wants to come for the regional championship.
Also, it just feels right. Well. I don't know. Christian Calcano on the Pro Tour is just like, I don't know. It's an institution, Just seems correct. So it's good.
Very, very happy. Like I was telling Javier and the rest of the teammates how great of a teammate is Calc because he basically just always played the side of the deck you want to try against, and gives its hardest. Like he plays so well. Like remember Raptors versus Mono White, we had like a 50-50 session, like a long 50-50 session against Mono White, which shouldn't happen, but he was playing so well, and the same with Lotus, and much more. So like
yeah, it's like he's always ready. Like you were like, Calco, I want to play against creativity, and he's like, sure, he might take some time, one game or two to figure out things, but he's very good with all the decks. I mean, he's a limited expert, so
he's a classic grinder.
Those players tend to know a lot of decks. Also, he's been playing for a long time, so he knows like the macro archetypes. But yeah, he's very valuable, certainly as a teammate. I mean, it was quite a week. By the way, what about this weekend? I mean, I know you want to talk about Modern, but whatever.
Whatever. Modern.
I'm happy to skip it.
Yeah, I know you. We know you are, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'm streaming Modern a lot these days. There's this blue-white control that Wafotapa won the challenge with. That was very cool. But outside of it's just blue-white control, Wafotapa, the usuals.
No new cards whatsoever, I assume.
No, he was playing like a lot of Dress Down and Alouette Moon, like 4 and 4 in the 75.
Basically, I think twice. There's like the new
thing.
Yeah,
just like cantrip in with the cards is better than playing Chalice of the Void and not drawing a card. Basically.
That is. I think maybe Fountain is good. I mean, Halloween the card is.
Halloween Fountain is definitely good. You need
it. I mean,
can't play without it.
Why they made the cards like so similar in names?
I mean, Halloween, it's a word.
I know
it's kind of they're running out of words. There's so much. There's like more cards than words at this point.
Okay, that's true. I will concede that.
Maybe it's lucky that this way if Mango had qualified for the Pro Tour, he'd have to like hide so many things about Modern. He wouldn't be able to fully just stream Modern every day or whatever. But now you're totally free of that burden. So there's some sides.
Yeah, but I would say that my content overall would have gotten better, maybe, for me just focusing on modern. But it's okay, I'll be very happy. I'll come in out for a week to hang around with Kalk and Zenny and Pivo in the house we booked. That has a swimming pool, by the way, of course. Actually, we haven't mentioned this yet, but Javier, you, how was it? Like, one of the reasons why I wanted to come is that because of the swimming pool, but the swimming pool was not available, unfortunately.
Yeah, like there's like some kind of dry
A drought
in Spain.
A drought.
Yeah,
The drought, so we could have filled the
there's a
swimming
dry
pool.
issue, so it's good
And-
for everyone
and-
to not fill the pools or whatever. So
Yeah, but I was
pool this
sad.
year.
I was sad, but it wasn't that hot after all.
No, it was not that hot, and yeah, at least
Last
played
time
more-
we
played more
came,
Magic in exchange.
yeah, last time we came with Anthony and Zen, it was during July for the Hogak PT. That was very hot.
Yeah, it will be hot. I mean, it will be hot also this year for the PT in Barcelona. So I mean, I will make a small, maybe it will be in the podcast actually. Like I'm gonna make small like tips or whatever for the PT Barcelona, but definitely it's gonna be hot. So you don't have to bring a sweater because it's gonna be like real hot.
Yeah.
Like I want to go to the beach every day, kind of hot.
Yeah, so I'll definitely come play the PTQs on Friday and Saturday. So I need to follow the limited of Lords of the Ring, which, by the way, the pre-release is this weekend.
What?
It is, yes.
The paper pre-release is this weekend.
So early? It's like wow.
And I guess on Magic Online and Arena is in next week.
That's I kind of thought it was next week
Nope, it's this week.
for some reason. Okay, I mean it's good
You
to
can
know, I
already
guess.
open the one-on-one ring.
I am
this
not,
weekend.
but someone has to open one. I mean, I will
Somebody.
don't mind opening one of the small rings, like small unique rings or whatever, like the number one ring of whatever type of rings.
That one's already open, right?
Well, whatever. Number two, some rings.
Yeah. Well, any of the serialized ones are worth quite a bit. Like, even the non-fancy numbers are worth, like, a nice amount. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's something.
Then again, not the biggest fan of that, but I'm very big fan of new cards. So it's also going to be in Arena, right? Like we're gonna be able
Yes.
to draft it in Arena. Okay, that's
Yes.
great. So I guess I will start drafting. I thought I had
Yes.
like more time before that, but all right.
No, why did...
That's,
No,
I mean,
we don't.
and this means the PT season starts. That's
Yes.
that's good actually.
We have a meeting about it tomorrow. You know that,
Oh,
right?
true. Yeah. Now I do. No, yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm just
So,
checking.
I mean, yeah, there's something going this weekend. Mingo's going to the 500 player tournament, which I will not attend, but I think I will. I think next year I'm going to try to make it so I can attend to one. of the
Oh, okay.
other
So you mean
games.
next year, right? You don't mean this one.
No, I
was-
mean like maybe in 2024 I can.
Oh, okay. I thought you said that now you were considering going with Mango to the one this weekend, and I was gonna punch my screen.
No,
I was gonna be
no.
so angry. Okay.
No, I mean knowing
Okay.
this weekend's pre-release, it could be a good weekend to go. But no, of course, I'm just saying like I want to live that experience once because Mango always presses out a lot, and I think it will be maybe fun.
Yeah, this one will be the first time they have 2 days. So yeah, they will expect just a lot of people. You've said 500 in Milan. Last time was 600 and something. And this time they invited Gavin Vere. He's actually a very big Magic personality to the event. I'm also gonna go on Friday. I have the Popper Invitational, and then on Saturday there is this 2 days main event. Popper, of course. So it's gonna be another weekend of traveling. My sixth one in a row, I believe. But after that,
is there
I'll take
coverage?
a
By the way,
break.
I think I asked you already, but there's no coverage, right?
There was, in Milan there was. It was in Italian, but there was.
I mean,
Maybe
me
it's-
and
maybe
Anthony,
English.
we kind of know
I don't know.
Italian, so okay.
Yeah,
if you,
I'm
if
sure
You,
Anthony
I only know the
will
curse
watch.
words Mango told me, which they probably.
no,
will.
but I mean that's good enough, I mean,
That's fair.
like
I
yeah,
I never taught anyone any curse words. by the
no,
way.
never. That's why we know them. Yeah.
No,
But yeah,
it
let
wasn't
us
me.
know. Let us know if you get there close to be on the coverage tables, just let us know because I would like to, watch you not getting an intentional draw in Popper.
Oh, by the way, I was on coverage last weekend in Athens, the first round.
Well, I didn't see it. It was too early. Too early for me to wake up on a weekend, as you can probably
Yeah.
imagine.
It was one of the very few rounds I won to, so that's cool.
All right.
But
Is there
anyway.
anything else we should be talking about? mean,
do we have any new patrons?
We might talk about the new cards, but maybe we'll just leave it for the next episode.
Yeah, do we have any new patrons? Shout out.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes, we have a patron. Name is No, and yeah, thank you so much, No, for that.
Thank you very much.
Again, if you part of the patron group, we have a Discord where I don't know. I post a bunch of stuff. I post the deck list I registered for the RC, I guess, and I'll be keeping update with the Pauper one if you want to. And
I mean,
any
discussion about anything. I think it's actually cool. We have a channel for. So I think it's cool if you tell us how you're going in the tournament.
Yeah, keep updated in the Pauper Discord for sure, and I guess we can use it that way. Maybe we haven't been doing it, but we can use it as a update of things because I believe some people tagged me at least, wishing good luck for this week in RC, and that's cool.
Absolutely.
Well, that just makes me feel terrible because I didn't do that. Oh well. I'll remember.
I mean, it's okay. You were in the Carnies Discord.
Also, no one expects you to do that, Anthony.
Oh, that's true. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a matter of expectations. All right, so next week we're gonna see the new cards, right? Like, let's see how we feel about those cards. Some of them are very cool. I haven't extensively looked at the spoiler, but I've seen some cards that I feel like quite unique, and I think it's good. Like cards that are not exactly the same type of card that were the same.
Yeah, they're weird.
So, yeah,
I kind of love
wordings, but yeah, I love it too. I mean, also since it's a non-standard set, they can be like more flexible because breaking a format that's older is way harder. Like some cards, might be like not too good, but like too oppressive in some sense in standard or whatever. But like for modern or legacy, even all the formats, it's way harder, so they can just try new things. I think that's good. It's also a way they can experiment, and I think they're using it to experiment, which is then again
definitely.
Cool. All right, maybe we wrap it up, guys.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for listening until here. We will see you next week with the Carnies.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Cheers.